Welcome back to FTW For the Win podcast, the greatest video game podcast in the world. This is episode 21, and we're talking about all things video games this week. A lot to go through, but first and foremost, today's unofficial sponsor is none other than Mountain Dew Game Fuel. It is the greatest, or second greatest Mountain Dew flavor ever to exist. Did you guys get any? Have you had any of the new Game Fuel yet? Because this citrus cherry is crazy. Henry, it's better or as good as I remember. Like, it is so good.
I'm sure it tastes the same. Like, I want to try the new one, Mythic Punch. I'm not gonna call it Mystic Punch. That's just wrong. They should have called it Mythic Punch. I'm gonna stand by that.
Yeah, stand by.
Have you tried the new one yet?
I did try the new one. It's really good too. However, it doesn't quite hit the same as this. This like unlocks like deep, crevices of my brain that haven't been scratched for
Yeah. Did you have the Warcraft one?
12 years or whatever. Yeah.
It just tastes like Halo 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Starfield, Game of the Year. Some people are saying it was snubbed. The Game Awards released all their nominees. And I'm interested to see what you guys think about this. Out of the 31 nominations, or categories, sorry, Starfield got nominated once. For Best RPG was the category. And there's some games that didn't even get nods, like Hogwarts Legacy, although it wasn't, there's a little bit of controversy around it, and it wasn't like a, it's not an always online game where it's always getting support or anything like that. However, it was a full, complete, content-rich, beautiful, great game. And it didn't even get a single nod at all. Like, not even close. And it wasn't infested with bugs. It didn't have massive problems at launch. It was just a great game. And there's a lot of chatter going around about the Game Awards. And I'm just wondering if how you guys kind of feel about that. Like, especially Starfield, one of the biggest games launches, we'll say, of the year, not getting really any nods. Are they missing? Is the Game Awards kind of missing something here?
I mean, I've always had really mixed opinions on the Game Awards. All the various different types of like gaming award ceremonies that have been around for like the last 2 decades have always felt a little off to me. But that's, it definitely could have been nominated for more than just Best RPG, right? It does fit some of the other categories. I think the art direction on it's amazing,
right? And
so I think it could have gotten at least nominated for that. The fact that Super Mario Wonder is for best game direction, I don't know. That feels like it. Everyone loves Nintendo's quality of work, but I don't think it brings anything creative and innovative in the direction and design, which is exactly what that subject is supposed to be, right? So I don't know.
Right, it's pretty standard for Nintendo. It's not anything.
Yeah, it feels like a Mario game, and so I don't think it's. I feel Starfield would have been a better fit in that category for best game direction. Do I think it should have won? I don't know, but
sure,
I think it should have been acknowledged there.
Right.
Yeah, when I look at the top category, Game of the Year, I am just how is Resident Evil 4 nominated? It came out in 2005. It's been re-released how many times? Like
it feels different. It's not just a straight like. It's different enough.
But it's
it shouldn't be game of the year. It's at its core the same game, so it shouldn't be game of the year. And then, like I said, Super Mario Wonder, I don't think is blowing anybody away, right?
I haven't heard anyone. Look, we do this podcast. I look over hundreds of gaming articles every week, and there has not been like crazy chatter around that game. Now, Alan Wake, I saw tons of people talking about it. Baldur's Gate 3, massive. Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, like so many people were talking about that. Even Resident Evil 4, there was a ton of people talking about that. Spider-Man, even though I'm like, it's a Spider-Man game, whatever. I did see a lot of people talking about that. But Super Mario Wonder, I was just like, it was like, yeah, new Mario game. Awesome. But it wasn't to the level that like a Baldur's Gate 3 was just like people are going ballistic about, you know?
Right. It's like, even if you look at a lot of the reviews, they say that it's, here's one specifically. It isn't a masterpiece, but it's still the best 2D Mario game of 25 years. Is that a reason to make it game of the freaking year? I don't think so.
No, you're right. You're right. And so I think the bummer is we would all probably agree that this year has actually been pretty stinking good for games. There's been like a lot of stuff to play. I feel like I'm bouncing between a lot of things, and yet there's some of these nominations. You're like, dude, where's like, Diablo doesn't get a single nod, and you can say what you want about AAA titles and all the things that come with it, but like that's a very, 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 very solid game. Hogwarts Legacy, one of the best scores ever in a game this year, if not the best. I mean, it's just ridiculously good, and nothing. And you're like, I'm just scratching my head. Like, they recreated Hogwarts. It looks brilliant. Like Hogwarts, the castle, it's like mind blowing the detail in that game. And not even like and then we're talking about like Hi-Fi Rush. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Yeah. But like, it's just such a good year for game. And it's a bummer to see some of the great standout games this year not even get nods.
Yeah. It definitely, like, I'm looking at best art direction right now. And it's like, again, Mario Wonder made it in there. And it's like, it looks like a Mario game. It looks like what you expect a Mario game to look like. Mario's art direction hasn't changed in 40 something years at this point.
Right.
And it's like for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. And like, yeah, the game looks good, but it's like, I don't think it's that amazing. Like,
yeah,
I feel like other stuff definitely sticks out more. I'm glad to see Hi-Fi Rush on there. I think that definitely it should be nominated for best art direction, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just disappointing when, I mean, Starfield reviewed, really well, huge seller, but we still have something like Resident Evil 4 and Super Mario. It's like, these are like not anything to write home about. And everything, I mean, not everything, but most of what I've heard about Spider-Man 2 is just like tons of glitches. It's only like 4 or 5 hours long. Like, it's a short game, and it's mostly cutscenes. And so it's like, okay, they seems like a lot of like copy and paste of the first one. And so, yeah, I mean, I think Baldur's Gate is going to kind of just sweep everything. That had like huge, massive impact in the gaming industry, not just in popularity and sales, but just like the quality caught everybody off guard, and the fact that it worked and was finished, and it like, it sent ripples through the gaming industry. Totally. We've talked about that on previous episodes.
Dude, like Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is nominated for Best Fighting Game, and that game came out last month. Like,
Yeah, how do they
Yeah.
even have time to
I
like?
think that's all the fighting games that came out this year.
you think that might have been it? It's like, well, I
Maybe.
mean, there's also this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I heard that game's got some issues. Also, I didn't even get around to playing the first one that came out a couple of years ago. I didn't even realize that until like after this was out that they had cranked out a sequel already. Like,
They have a couple. They have a couple categories here that I'm a little weirded out by. One of them is most anticipated game, which is just a weird thing to have an award for. And the other, which is probably more frustrating, is best community support. Because when I look at the list of 3 of these games who are nominated, Cyberpunk, Destiny 2, and No Man's Sky, Destiny 2 is literally in a free fall. No Man's Sky had one of the worst, No Man's Sky story. It had one of the worst starts and had a very rocky beginning, and it's starting to it's come around, but it's like, okay. And then Cyberpunk, same thing. Cyberpunk is great now. It wasn't. And so I'm like, so we're giving awards for people who can make a good recovery on a broken game that they launched. I'm a little confused on that. It should be like, best support for a game that's functioning and content rich already.
Best support at launch.
And,
best support at launch, right? So
it's kind of weird. No?
I agree. I definitely agree.
Because
the most
Infinite
anticipated
should
game
be
is
on
also
this
a really
list.
stupid one.
Infinite's been making a great comeback, but it's like,
yeah,
but it doesn't deserve any awards. Period.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird category, no?
The most anticipated one's most stupid. Like recognizing recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward.
No, see, that's so dumb. Awards for
from
potential.
like a pre-rendered trailer. Is that what we're going off of?
It's like that's not the most anticipated award. It's like the most hype award. It's like best marketing.
Exactly.
Like it's just like, yeah, good, nice sell. You're selling the game before it's out. Like that's all that award is.
Yeah.
See, best community support should be. It should actually take into account like community support. Which of these studios responds the best to the community? Which one responds to customer support tickets like the fastest? Which one of them replies to tweets the quickest? Or which one, like actual community support? Like Cyberpunk, I mean, they released a broken game, at least on consoles, and then took a year to fix it, and then they released like an expansion. That's not community support. Like,
no.
You guys messed up,
right?
And then No Man's Sky, I mean, that game came out. No Man's Sky came out years ago, and like, okay, I could see that one probably fitting better now because they are just like continually updating the game and adding stuff. Like, but this is a very confusing category.
That's
same
the
with
category.
Best ongoing.
What should we rename the category?
Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Cyberpunk released the expansion. They're only doing one expansion and it's over. Like, it's done. It's not an ongoing game like an Apex or a Genshin or Fortnite. Like, what is Cyberpunk doing here? It's not an ongoing game, like, at all. Doesn't make any sense. But Henry,
best community support. What's up?
But Henry, did you check out best mobile game? Did you see what was nominated?
Oh, I bet COD's on there.
No. Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Best mobile game.
Oh,
it's happening.
Go.
It's happening.
Yo, all these years later.
Yep.
So best support, best community support doesn't make sense to me. Still, I cannot get behind this category at all. That's
Yeah.
like giving a restaurant a higher star because they messed up your order when you ordered it, and then they gave you they were like, "Oh, sorry, here's the other half of your order you placed," right? Like when you go to McDonald's and you order a bunch of stuff and they didn't give you your fries, so you have to go back to the counter and say, "Hey, I didn't get my fries." And they go, "Oh, I'm sorry," and they gave you fries. Like that's expected. That's just the bare minimum, right? Like,
Yeah.
How
about this games for impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message?
Oh my gosh, there's furries in there. No. What? Goodbye Volcano High? There's like furry unicorn people.
I'm surprised that game's not under the best family category too.
Oh my god, dude. I don't know. That's
What do you guys think about the esports being included in this? Like best esports team, athlete, etc.
it's I don't know.
I think like here's the thing, best esports game is going to be these same 5 games every year, so I don't know what they're like.
Right. Like,
the esports scene is only so big as far as the games that are really popular, so I don't know what, like, oh wow, Counter-Strike or Dota is on there, PUBG, yeah, that's the same thing every year. League of Legends, wow, you know,
PUBG Mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
PUBG Mobile is on there. Like, I don't understand. Like League has been out for like 13 years now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 13, 14 years. So, like, why is it CS2 and not CSGO, which was around for most of the year?
Yeah. And CS2's been having a lot of issues. People getting outside the map and hitbox registration and...
Or if you're like me, you can't even play it on one of your gaming PCs because you play on Linux. I'm going to hold that against Valve for like ever because they literally like took a game I paid for.
So I
don't care if like I couldn't play it online anymore. It's just like, you know what I mean? The fact that it's just out of my library just is annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, they could probably cut like half these categories, to be honest. Like, there's just stuff that doesn't need to be in there. Yeah, best ongoing category. There's literally only 2 games that are like actually ongoing, basically. Anyways, well, we'll see what wins. Baldur's Gate should probably sweep a lot of it, but yeah, very weird. I've never really understood the Game Awards and the decisions that get made. Even in the content creator side, it's like the people who are doing the biggest numbers, making the most content, having the furthest reach, don't even get nominated. And it's like, well, then what is this? If it's not about your impact in the actual numbers and data and how well you're actually doing, then what is this about? And that's kind of the problem with some of these awards. That they're very much like, it's like any award show, Oscars and Grammys. It's a lot of, there is a level of like performative and political and like, oh, we really like this person, let's, you know, give them a nod. Oh, they kind of fit how we kind of see and want the industry to be like, so let's they've never done anything sketchy in their past, let's get them like on there. So it's kind of this weird pseudo award thing, but they miss on a lot of stuff too.
Well, if you remember last week, we talked about it, But these awards air on December 7th, which is also my birthday. And we learned that Rockstar would be announcing GTA 6 in early December.
Ooh.
So all signs kind of point to a Game Awards trailer debut.
Yep.
So that will probably be the reason why I try and tune in.
And did you hear
Or
also?
you could just wait for it to hit YouTube after.
Immediately after.
It'll be like 5 minutes, like at the most.
It reminds me of E3 though. There's usually like some kind of moment, like crazy moment. Like there's like this guy protesting. Isn't he like saying something about Bill Clinton or something? Like the last couple years, he's been able to get on stage and like
Bill Clinton kid. That's his name,
like
Bill
that.
Clinton kid. He walked up to
Bill
the Game
Clinton
Awards
kid.
and he just grabbed the mic, and I don't even remember what he said, just some nonsense. And he pops up everywhere, especially to like streamers and content creators when they're doing IRL stuff. There was a streamer, Kai Sinet, who we've talked about on here. He was at Universal Studios and just running around doing IRL stuff. And then a kid just pops up out of nowhere, like comes through the crowd, and then just like Kai, what are you doing? Da, 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 da. And then he's like, how did you even get here, dude? Get away from me. Da, da, da. And he like, and then his Kai's like security is like, back up, back up, back up. He pops out of nowhere, this kid, dude. He's really random, really weird.
Wow.
But to your point, John, Larian Studios did confirm that there's going to be an announcement for Baldur's Gate 3 that it's coming to console. They're going to announce it at the Game Awards. To Xbox. Yeah, Xbox. So that's kind of cool. If it's on Game Pass,
I'm gonna get it.
If it gets on Game Pass by some way, shape, or form, I'll definitely give it a shot. Definitely give it a shot.
I was talking to Biggs about it on Sunday, and he's just like, it is the greatest game ever.
Oh, nice.
You can just do anything you want in it.
That's cool.
No, you can't, because if I want my dong to like clip out of my pants, I can't do that anymore.
They patched it
out.
Dude, did you hear about San Francisco? Xi Jinping was coming from China to San Francisco to visit, and they patched out all the homeless people.
It's true.
They patched them out and updated the streets, so they're clean now.
Gosh.
Removed the graffiti.
Gavin Newsom literally said, "Oh yeah, people are just saying we cleaned up because all these fancy people are coming to town." And well, it's true. That's true. That's why we did it.
That's what he
literally said that at a press conference.
Yep. Yep. Did you guys hear about the edible Xbox controller? To celebrate the upcoming Willy Wonka film, they are doing a sweepstakes. They're giving away a unique modeled Willy Wonka's iconic like Xbox Series X. It's modeled after like the store a little bit. It looks really cool. And it comes with a cool controller and a controller that's edible chocolate. I think I have already entered the sweepstakes because one of these days I'm going to win one of these cool Xboxes. It looks good.
Get Henry to enter for you.
I know, yeah. I'll enter. I'll do it. This is interesting because like back when I lived in Texas, this is a little anecdote. Like I had made chocolate Xbox 360 controllers.
What?
Yeah. Me and my ex, we made like a mold with a normal Xbox 360 shell, and we made like a silicone mold that was food safe silicone, and because she worked at a craft store, we're able to get like chocolate that's meant to be melted down for this kind of purpose, and we made chocolate Xbox 360 controllers. Like just as like a, I mean, you know, just can we do this? Like just come up with like a concept, and we did it. So
there's no earthly way of knowing.
I made a
Which
chocolate gun once.
direction we are going?
Did you guys?
Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is a hurricane a blowing?
How do you know all the lyrics to that? That's so crazy.
Yes, the danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing. It's a great movie.
I just can't get over the fact that 4 people share a bed, and their like feet are probably touching like every day of their lives. That's a lot.
They're certainly not showing.
Grandpa Joe sucks, dude. Let's be real. Like what the hell do you mean? Now you can sing and dance, and you haven't been working.
You've been making me take care of you guys for how long?
But no, you hear we can go to the fucking chocolate factory, Grandpa. Now you're like, whoo! I'm your +1, Charlie. Like,
oh, not a speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing.
Oh man,
I love that movie.
Analog just continues to be on a tear. We keep talking about their products, but it's only because they just keep dropping new products that I can't buy. They just revealed a batch of some new classic Nintendo like Game Boy colors, and there's 8 different models.
Gorgeous,
and they're just based off like classic Game Boy Color, and they look so cool, and I
believe these are actually not based off the Game Boy Color. These are based off of the Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket Play Aloud colors.
Well, yeah,
I was gonna say because the
green is not the kiwi green.
Not the lime green that I had.
Mm-hmm.
They look awesome.
Kiwi lime.
I want them all.
Yeah.
Analog, I'm happy with my black one.
Analog, please sponsor us. Please, please, please. We'll like put them up. I'll like just put them up. They'll fill half the screen. I don't even care. Like run one here.
They did say it's extremely limited, so this is going to be like another set of like just where they will sell it. These ones will sell out instantly because it's a short, highly limited run of these ones.
What color?
I think I wouldn't doubt it. Like, is that silver on the left, or is that just yeah?
Looks like it.
So yeah, that's definitely it's definitely silver. So based off the Game Boy Pocket Play Aloud series, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another color released soon. That's just old school Game Boy gray, because they haven't done that. Like
with the purple buttons.
Yeah.
Oh.
I want to get the I want to get 3 orange ones and get them engraved with FTW. Give them to you guys.
I loved my Game Boy Color so much.
I still got mine.
Mario Tennis. Was that one of the first games you had, Mario Tennis?
Mm-hmm. Mario
My
Tennis.
Game Boy Color is worth stupid amounts of money because it's this.
Oh, what are those running for?
And
nowadays?
I still have the couple hundred.
Yeah,
and I still got the box.
Ooh,
so
that's big. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Mario Tennis was like a full-on like RPG. Like you started in the lower ranks and then worked your way up and then upgraded your skills and like went all the way to like the Grand Championship or whatever. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
I remember it played real, like the controls for like a Game Boy. It was real tight. You know, it played real well, and it felt like you could control the angle and the velocity at which you hit. I mean, they did really well on that game. I remember distinctly how just much control you actually had with just a little D-pad and your 2 buttons. You could really, it felt so good, that game.
There was a few different spins you could do, different shots, drop shots, lob shots, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even actually a Nintendo developed game.
Who developed it?
Camelot. Camelot did both the N64
Camelot.
and the Game Boy Color version. The N64 version, if you use the transfer pack that came in Pokemon Stadium, you can get I believe you could take your character from the RPG mode of Color. You could import him to the N64 version of Mario Tennis, and I want to say the same thing works for the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Color and N64 version of Mario Golf as well.
Camelot. Yeah,
interesting.
I love that thing. It was so awesome playing like Game Boy Color on the bus, like on the way home from school. Like, yeah,
I love it. Ninja was streaming old school Fortnite. Been playing a lot of that. There's been a huge return to Fortnite. And he was streaming and he accidentally leaked. I don't know if you guys heard about this. He accidentally leaked his Twitch dashboard, and people were able to see how much money he's made in this last month. So from like November 15th to October 15th. And it was $142,177 just streaming on Twitch this past month. Now this is pre-tax, obviously. So, you knock off 20%. That's still
or more.
like
Where does he live?
$11,000 or whatever, or $113,000.
Where's he based out of?
I want to say he's based out of Florida.
Made at Noodles and Company.
Florida, Florida, maybe.
Oh, is he Florida? Yeah, I think
maybe
that sounds right.
But what's crazy is the last 6 months he forfeited all that because he was doing multi-streaming. If you remember, I think we may have talked about this in last episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Twitch just announced a few weeks ago that they will allow multi-streaming now. And so now he's back on Twitch, and literally 1 month, boom, 142K, just like that. So he like forfeited, $500K by doing that multi-stream. These last 6 months, which is pretty crazy to think about. Pretty crazy. People give him a bad time and say he's fallen off, but I would kill to fall off at $142,000 a month. Okay, let's be very real here. That would be a dream come true to fall off to the sound of $142,000. So, props to him for he's doing something right. This last week, or actually just a couple days ago, a brand which some of our listeners may or may not be familiar with, RETROTINK, they just dropped a brand new product called the RETROTINK 4K, and it is a $750 piece of equipment. But Henry, why does this matter to gamers like us, and what could be some practical uses? What is so cool about this? And as a gamer, how could this practically be used in this world?
So the RetroTink series of products, they're upscalers. Mike's been doing this since 2018. I've used all their products before, and I love them to death. I use them for hooking up any of my old equipment up to a modern screen. It does a really great job of upscaling the image, allowing you to scale it specifically to how you want it to look, which is what you can do with the RetroTink 5X and the upcoming RetroTink 4K. And it has a multitude of different inputs: S-Video, composite components, SCART. The new RetroTink 4K even allows HDMI inputs. And the reason you would want to use a scaler such as your TV sometimes can be slow to do it, or just does a really crappy job of with the image quality, because it's not that you won't put the television manufacturers don't put that great of equipment into the TV to do the upscaling, because most of the time you're not doing that, let alone now, if you have a modern TV, they typically don't even have analog inputs at all anymore. So if you use any kind of old equipment, any old game consoles, the RetroTink series of products is great for getting them hooked up to a modern panel. The RetroTink 5K has a ton of customizable scanline options as well as slot masks, so you can really fine tune the look of it. So your old consoles will look like they're being played on a CRT with all of the
crystal clear imagery,
as perfect as you want or as imperfect as you want, right? Because some people want to be like fuzzier. I go with kind of like a medium sort of thing. My pixels are like razor sharp, but it has a really nice slot mask, like you would find when you have like a professional video monitor back in the, so like a professional grade CRT is what I use mine to emulate the look of. It's great if you use Laserdisc or VHS, where they were designed to have those scan lines over it. When you watch a VHS or Laserdisc rip, it's going to look fuzzier because it's being de-interlaced and was meant to be watched interlaced. So using scan lines can help mask that. And the RetroTink 4K is using a very powerful FPGA to do all this, which is why it's $750. Mike's been working on this for years now. It's been several years that he's been working on it, and people have basically been my friend Joe described it as people have been asking Mike to make a Ferrari, but now they're upset he's not pricing it like a Camry.
Right.
And that's essentially what it is. It's a really high-end piece of video equipment. My friend Joe has been throwing tons of like arcade boards that run at weird refresh rates, weird resolutions, and it's been able to take that and throw it onto a normal 1080p or 4K TV without any lag, without any distortion. He has built in so many of these weird oddball resolutions that nothing really else has been able to replicate that yet. You've been stuck hooking up to a CRT because they don't have that issue, but digital panels do. So there's that. I want to hook up all of my like analog consoles that from my analog FPGA consoles that use HDMI. I have them set to 720p, so they perfectly scale up to 4K, but that's using my TV scaler. Since they're HDMI, now I could feed those into the RetroTink 4K and have perfect upscaled FPGA consoles. So there's a lot of things that this has going for it, right? From testing old arcade boards. It would look great if you want to archive VHS tapes and have them look proper. Because then if you feed a VCR into this, have a really nice CRT filter over it and output that to a capture card, and then you can archive that as a DVD, and now you will have your VHS archived in digital form, but with a screen emulating how it was intended to originally look, right?
Dude.
So there's a lot of logical there's a lot of
applications,
reasons to have this capabilities for this outside of just playing old video games. So
however,
I'll definitely
if you have an 80-inch 4K TV and you have your Sega Genesis and you just want to have a good time and spend $750, you can use that, plug it in, and behold the glory. And it won't be laggy or delayed or anything like that.
Mike has acknowledged that like this probably won't sell as much as the RetroTink 5X, which is his current product, which is like $350, I think. And he acknowledges he feels that like people will still buy the RetroTink 5X because it still does an amazing job. And if you want to talk about continuing ongoing community support, Mike has been doing such a killer job adding so many more features to all his products with firmware updates, adding more resolutions, more upscaling resolutions, because originally the 5 it's called RetroTink 5K, but can actually do 6X. It can actually do, instead of 5x, it was meant to be 5x, but he was able to squeeze another higher resolution out of it, and that's just in a firmware update, right? Like that's
Awesome.
good ongoing community support. Like so yeah, I'm definitely stand behind Mike and his products.
Yeah, dude, RetroTink should win a freaking award at the Game Awards. What are we even talking about? Like
best indie developer. Like that's keeping like retro gaming alive.
Hardware
right?
developer. Yeah, dude. That's
like I was telling David, my first RetroTink product I got from him, it was the RetroTink 2X, and it was a circuit board stacked on top of 2 pieces of acrylic with like the screws under it. Like that's how homebrew it was being made in his like kitchen, essentially. The guy's like a scientist. He does stuff with like brain waves for like medicine or something. It's like that's what he does for like a living. This is his hobby. Released some of the best like video retro gaming AV equipment possible.
So good. Did you guys hear about Game Battles /MLG? The platform, sad day. It's a sad day in gaming, because if you go on their website, it says Game Battles community. After careful consideration, we have decided to shut down the Game Battles platform and services as of January 15th, 2024. For those at home who don't know, Game Battles, did Game Battles combine with Major League Gaming, or were they always together? I don't remember because it was so long ago.
I want to say they combined. I want to say Game Battles was ran separately, but because they both had the same like goal and agenda, and it was all the same teams. I think there was a lot of people that were working on both at the same time, where it just kind of turned into like MLG was like the live events essentially, and Game Battles was just
the online component, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of, if I recall back in the Halo 3 days, that's what it turned into.
Is it fair to say that they're kind of like some of the grandfathers of esports gaming, especially in the console community?
100%, dude. Like, I mean, Major League Gaming became kind of a catch-all term for like esports until esports became a word, because there was other leagues like the Cyber Athlete League, but like Major League Gaming was still kind of like a catch-all for all forms of like competitive gaming as a sport. So yeah, I would say they're the grandfather, and it's kind of crazy to think about that that it started with Halo. Like MLG started specifically to host Halo tournaments, and like competitors are bringing in their own CRTs. Like that's how homebrew it was, right? That's how grassroots the core of like esports was. So
and go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, I mean, especially for like online tournaments, like this is where you went with your buddies to enter into online tournaments and like try to make a name for yourself and try and make a run in tournaments and Halo tournaments. And a lot of teams, like, they started on Game Battles and like did well on Game Battles, and then were able to get to the live events, and then the rest is history. So but I mean, this is like early 2000s, like huge esports events weren't even a thing outside of, I think, like StarCraft in Korea, maybe. But that's like it.
Yeah, and it's definitely the end of an era for sure, because it was now it's to the point where all these gaming companies, they kind of just are cutting out the middleman. I feel like Game Battles has kind of just become the middleman, and Fortnite, they just run their own stuff, right? Halo, HCS, they just run their own stuff, and they're kind of like these companies now, they just want control of it, and they don't want to have any other middleman doing things. But it's a shame, because Major League Gaming is like, the brand is so strong, but it's also, I don't know, I feel like there's something about it that is accessible, where all these people doing their own thing. It's
the name. The name just makes sense. You Major League Gaming, and it automatically clicks.
It's the top tier of gaming. Period.
You say Overwatch League, and if someone is not a gamer, they're like, what's that?
100%.
Like, right?
That's what
But
it is.
I mean, and at the same time, so like it's Activision that bought Game Battles and MLG, and then did absolutely nothing with it, let it die. This is gonna sound weird, but it ties into what you just said, David, and I feel it's because Activision wanted to have complete control over their individual games, because like I said, they ran Overwatch League. It's the same company, Overwatch League,
and Call of
Game
Duty
Battles,
has their own
Yeah.
tournament series and stuff too.
Yeah. And so 100%, like, what we are, the death of MLG and Game Battles might have been inevitable at this point, because yeah, you're right, companies would want to have complete control over how their games are portrayed, right? Because like we know about Halo MLG rules were totally different from how Bungie wanted the game to actually be played.
Yep.
So if you can just imagine, like, you don't want people playing a different version of the game than what you're really putting out there, and that causes just a divide in your player base. And so, because now esports has gotten bigger, companies, of course, want to have complete control over how their game is portrayed as an esport. So esports leagues like MLG, they don't really have a place anymore, right? So, as disheartening as it is, it seems almost inevitable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It just sucks that they didn't do jack with it for like the entire time they've had it.
Yeah. I've always wanted to have like some kind of archive or backup of like the MLG like videos. Like they had like a whole huge community, like their own YouTube of MLG videos and montages that people would create and upload. And man, there's just so many amazing montages over the years, and it's like, I don't know if I'll ever get to watch them ever again. You know, I think that video portion has been shut down for a very long time, but
Yeah.
I still think about some of them because I hear, the songs. Like I hear the songs, I'm like, I remember this song in this montage, and I can like see the clips in my head, and
Right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
There's a bunch of songs where I feel that way about like Halo 1 and 2 montages. Like even prior to that, like it was just such that part of our lives, right? And tied into Halo so much. That it was just, it's a shame.
Would, like, even at school, I would just go to mlgpro.com and just hang out on that website, read whatever articles, whatever's happening, watch videos, all the new montages, everything. Like, I frequented mlgpro.com more than any other website, because there was a great community around it. And that's kind of like the shame of all of this is, I think gaming culture has an opportunity to, like, for people to really come together. But when you have Overwatch League and you have all that Call of Duty League and HCS and all these kind of different things happening, everyone's just isolated in their little bubble.
Yeah.
Well, it's also just that like esports as a whole is so much bigger than what it was. So like, it's like shouting to the void now versus before. Like we went to we went to a small Halo 3 tournament, and how many people there were pro and how many people there went pro the next year, right? So like it was a tight-knit community back then, relatively. Still large, but nothing compared to like how big anybody that considers themselves competitive within like Overwatch. Well, just by the sheer volume of players now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the games are so big, like I feel like some of them have to have their own league. Like you can't host a League of Legends event and also have it be, you know, a Call of Duty event, like of the same venue, the same weekend. It's like,
No.
they're just too big, you know?
Yeah. It's it's the end of an era, and to all the guys who like pioneered that, Chris Puckett, I actually think about those guys a lot, like who really like pioneered that and super grassroots just went for it. I'm like, dude, like everything we see now in esports, so much of it just traces back to those simple Halo tournaments and Gears of War tournaments and just the MLG days. And no one really, like, very few people know that.
it's
Mhm.
interesting to me to think about like how people reacted to us being like into like competitive gaming was what we called it back then, right? Like competitive gaming or pro gaming, and like it was seen as such a stupid concept back like only in the early mid 2000s, not even that long ago. I can't imagine being an adult and trying to like pitch this as a business plan without people thinking you're a lunatic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like just being, it seems like I can imagine someone that was told they're absolutely delusional, thinking you can make a living hosting a company for people to play Halo against each other.
This past weekend, just a off the cuff tournament that was just online, not even like a big thing. Fortnite had a tournament called it was called the Reunion Tournament or Reunion Tour Tournament, whatever. And they invited a bunch of content creators to play. And they pitched it like, hey, we're going to do this tournament and we're going to get all the old content creators who played Fortnite in the, season 1, 2, 3 early days. And we're going to have a fun tournament, make some content. It's going to be great. And what the content creators didn't know is that there's a ton of pros in the tournament as well. And they were teamed up. So it was a duos tournament. And so they get into this tournament, and the duos who are professionals currently right now just start mopping the floor with all these content creators. And the content creators did not have a great time at all because they didn't even know that this was going to be a thing. They thought it was just like a laid back, hey, we're going to play to win, but it's going to be like a lot of casuals and people who have been retired from the game and aren't even pros. But what's funny is this tournament that happened a couple of days ago, the last round, the last game, all of the top content creators organized a rebellion against all of the sweaty pros, and they like jumped in a Discord call. There's like 15 or 20 of them. They all put on banana skins and they all teamed up against all the sweats. And so this is a live tournament. There's broadcasting, there's everything. And they didn't break any rules in the tournament. They didn't break any rules. And they got actually approval from like an admin of the tournament. And so they were like, okay, we're going to do it. So in the last game, there's a group of like 20 bananas running around on this map, and they are just beaming every sweaty duo. And it was actually really, really funny to watch. And there's mixed reactions. Some people are like, oh, that's lame, whatever. And some people are like, dude, you saved the tournament. Like, it was miserable. Everyone's having a miserable time except for the group of 10 duos who are super sweaty, who are just grinding it out like it's a world championship. And it makes for some pretty funny content. I'm not going to lie.
Can we Henry, maybe you can shed some light on this too. Can we talk about the term sweaty? Because it's a relatively new
Mhm.
term, like in gaming. I'm not sure who coined it, but it came along like after much further after like I stopped playing video games competitively. Because really the last time I like really competitively played a game was Halo 3, and Halo 5, like a bit, but it's often like it seems like it's always used as like an insult, right? It's derogatory, and so I'm just like I get confused, I guess, by the term, because it's being applied to people that are better at a game than you are, and so I don't understand it, or yeah, maybe it's just like a confusing new term for me.
Boomer.
Like,
Exactly.
so
Boomer
to
alert.
me, the term, to me, it evokes somebody. You know the meme of the kid in a class, and he's got like that bulging like forehead vein, and he's sweating hard. You
Yeah.
seen that meme?
Mm.
That's when I hear a sweaty gamer, like in the competitive sense. I'm imagining someone straining that hard to win, and the reason it's insulting is because everyone else is just kind of having fun, and this guy's over here just like sweaty up a storm, taking it so hard. So, right. So that's where
Yeah,
I
I think if you like saw the person playing like that, but it's like just because they get the better of you in a altercation and kill you doesn't automatically.
Well, that's not.
I get the same thing. Like I felt the same way when everyone was throwing around the word try hard. Like somebody was like telling me
Yeah.
was they were watching my kill cam on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 like 10 years ago. They started going off and calling me a tryhard because I was using like I think it was like the UMP 45, and I'm like, well, I want to win. I'm playing the
Right.
game. I would like to win, and it's a good gun. Is that try hardy, or is that just me knowing how the damn game works? Like,
Because I guess there's not much of a difference for me when I play. Like there's not like I can't like flip a switch and then instantly just be like, okay, I'm gonna like play a lot better now. I was just playing casually. Like I'm always just like playing at the same level.
I agree. I'm the same way. That's why Allison doesn't like playing games with me. We're playing like Neo Geo. We're playing.
You're here.
We're playing Magical
like, just
Drop.
always.
Yeah.
And
it's just like, well, like we were playing Magical Drop, which is like a puzzle game, and so like I'm not even looking at what she's doing. I'm just like lining up my bubbles, and I really like the game, and I play it a lot. So it's like boop 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 boop, just playing, and the game gets my game got progressively harder as I'm so it's still me just playing the game, but like.
Yeah,
I can't turn it off. I would always end up winning. She doesn't like playing with me because I always end up winning because of that. Because you're right. It's not a switch. I can't just be like, well, time to be easy.
But here's the thing, because in a game like we can use Fortnite as an example. I know when it's being used, context matters, right? So or in Halo, we talk about Social Slayer, right? Or multi-team, RIP. Thanks 343 for never bringing that back. Multi-team, right? It was the most casual mode imaginable, right? Teams of 2 going against each other in like, eight people, and it's objectives and random stuff, and it's just the most casual thing. Now imagine someone in multi-team and you're spectating them, or you see them playing, and you see them just peeking corners, and like playing to the most optimal level in the most casual setting. That's where in Fortnite, it's like the same type of thing. Like in multi-team, I'll run around and yeah, I'm trying and yeah, I want to win and I'm not taking it too seriously. But then if I do jump into like a BR start playlist, I'm gonna be just trying a little bit harder. So I think
I have to agree, David.
The context matters in the sweating, because in Fortnite, if they're like, you're just playing like OG builds and you see people like running slide canceling, running like in the like open, and they're doing all this crazy stuff, and you're just like, you don't need to do that. It's not even helping you win. You're just literally trying so hard in the off 0.0001% chance that someone shoots at you, they're gonna miss because you're just doing all this crazy movement. So it's like those kind of people are like this. When we say sweaty, they're like sweaty because they're just full on optimal. Like I get exhausted playing like that.
I mean, that's how come I don't like BR games, battle royale games, just because like they feel always sweaty. It feels like I have to always be on. There's no such, to me. Doesn't feel like a casual mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even like we go dial back to Halo, like when we would play a big team and multi-team, I would still, do my try hard crap. I would still, but to me, what it was because it was social. If I was messing up, I wouldn't take it hard because it's like, oh, it's whatever, right?
Not ranked.
That's what all it was to me. It was like, it didn't affect how I played, but it did let me like slack off if I was like eating, right? Where I could where I didn't care, but I still played the same.
Like I would still, even like social big team, I would still want to just absolutely thrash the other team. It's just I didn't care if I won or lost.
Right? Yeah,
but
exactly.
It didn't change how I played, and and I feel like with the Fortnite, it being sweaty, it's like, well, if I had the skills to play like that, I would 100% play like that. But I don't, So it's like, if I had the skill, if my skill level was there, like, why wouldn't I just like thrash people? That's what's really fun, is getting tons of kills and just destroying people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I don't disagree.
An insult to do it.
Yeah, I think it's contextual.
A derogatory term,
but it is contextual because there are in Fortnite specifically, because we're talking about it. There is ranked and competitive, and there's definitely levels. And so when you go into the lowest tier of a playlist, and you get guys who are going nuts, it's like, okay, we know why you're here to sweat out and thrash everyone. Whereas like you go into ranked builds, it's going to be everyone's sweaty, and that's fine and that's good. So I think it's just a contextual thing.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you. I'm the same way in Halo. I want to kill everyone and dominate, and there's been a gazillion games where we've won 50-12, But I don't know. The origins of it, yeah. It's been in the last 5 years, but last 5 years or so. Guys, today's a really, 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 really special day. Because 22 years ago, this day, November 15th, the original Xbox and Halo Combat Evolved were released. And it changed our lives forever. Literally. So I thought it'd be cool to close out the pod with a favorite memory or moment or reflection as the 22-year anniversary of the original Xbox and launch title Halo Combat Evolved. 22 years ago, we all feel old. We get it.
Yeah.
But November 15th.
Here's a weird Halo memory I got. So I don't know if you guys remember this, but like when like new consoles coming out, a lot of times the launch titles were available to purchase like actually beforehand. Like you didn't have to wait for the console to come out. Like I did that with like because you couldn't do anything with it anyway. So like the official release date for Halo is, you know, the 15th of November, but I remember the week it was coming out, the Xbox was coming out, I was at the BX and like I don't remember what friend was with me, but they were getting an Xbox and they bought Halo there. This would have been like November 9th, I want to say. Like a few days earlier, because the games were on the shelf, they just couldn't sell the consoles yet. I remember I did the same thing with the Nintendo Wii. I was able to buy like Zelda a couple days beforehand. But yeah, it's weird. That's a weird thing that sticks out of my mind. I'm like, and I can't find anything official about like what the rules were. So everything says the release date was the 15th, but like I remember multiple stores were selling it early, just no consoles. So you guys got a weird like just memory from Halo that's just very unique.
I got tons of Halo memories, man.
One of my, I don't talk to him anymore, but I had a friend in junior high before we got an Xbox. He got one at lunch, and I went over to his house, and he had Halo, and I had heard about it. I hadn't seen anything. Like there wasn't, I couldn't go on YouTube or the internet and just like look at Halo stuff, but I had heard about it, like just through kids at school, whatever, OXM,
Kids at school,
a magazine, something, EGM, something like that. And I saw the case, and I think it had like the holographic case, the holographic cover art.
The very launched ones did have like a reflective holographic style.
And it was so beautiful, and it looked so cool. I was looking at the back of it, and I was like, dude, I really, really want to play this. And he was like, no, let's play NFL Fever. And so proceeded to play NFL Fever. And I'd never played the game before, and he'd been playing it, tons. And I was like not into it because I didn't want to play it. He ended up beating me like 80-something to nothing, like in a football game. And the whole time I was just thinking about wanting to play Halo. Like I never got to play it. And left his house and like didn't even, just never got the chance to play it until our neighbor got it. But I just remember just like being in his living room, just like, oh, I really want to play this. But nope. I think he might have even loaded up the Obi-Wan Kenobi game too. So it was like two games I did not want to play at all. And he has like this masterpiece just sitting there in the case. And I'm just like, dude, come on.
Do you guys remember your first? Did you play campaign first or multiplayer first?
Multiplayer.
Because we didn't own it the first time we played it.
I mean, I don't remember the first, but I definitely remember, we've talked about it a lot, going over to our neighbor's house and pistols on Blood Gulch. Like we played his settings, his house, his rules, how he liked to play. Blood Gulch, no shields, pistols only. And there were times I remember being just
there's three of us.
John was camping one
Blood
base.
Gulch.
Eugene was camping the other base, and I would just spawn and just get one-shotted. And yet, even then as a kid, we were laughing, having fun. It was like, oh man, you got me again. Oh man, I'm in the kill sack. Oh man, it's like
the kill sack.
It's frustrating, but it's like, oh, this is so much fun because it was just like, dude, it was 2001, or 2002 at that point. So it is just it was so crazy that we were even playing that on his big screen. What was it? Maybe 48-inch TV.
Yeah, he had like a fat back, big screen TV, But then he also got the the advanced AV pack or whatever. And when he plugged that in, I remember the first time like the ghost like scraped against one of the bases.
Oh,
it was
so
just like,
good. Shout outs to Marty O'Donnell. Audio.
It was just like, dude, it was piercing.
So I have in my hands the January 2002 issue number 2 of Official Xbox Magazine.
Oh, look at that.
Which was the first OXM to cover the Halo game. It's the second issue ever of OXM. And this thing is like mint condition right here. And it's so beautiful. Flipping through it, it covers literally every single aspect of the game, every like vehicle, item. It has a campaign walkthrough. It talks about the flood, spoilers up the wazoo, strategy, multiplayer, every single thing. And this is like just it's a beautiful, beautiful grail. And one of my fondest memories of the time is just like John being subscribed to Official Xbox Magazine and consuming
my grandma
the
subscribed me to it,
back to front, front to back. And basically I would get like the previous months, like after John had it for the month, like it would drop. And if I got if John got the March issue, I was getting the February issue, and I could then look through it. And like, this is like, you take it to school with you, you take it around in the car. These magazines were just the best.
The demo discs.
And they came with demo discs. Like, look at this. This is like, tell me that's just not like beautiful and nostalgic and amazing. Breaking down all the weapons. It's
my grandma.
It's crazy to think about a time it was so foreign,
Yeah.
It's so weird. We know so much about Halo now that to think back when like it was like a whoa, there's this thing. It's such a weird concept now to look back on.
Well, everyone have a great Thanksgiving, and that's the pod. GG's.
Pun.
GG.
GG's.